Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Dylan and today I'm talking about the new Brooks Ghost 14 and comparing it against some of the previous versions I have over here. Brooks have a lot going for them at the moment. In the first quarter of this year, they were the top selling women's running brand in the US, and last year were one of the top selling running brands globally in specialty running stores. I think this is a really good reflection of the product they've been putting out. You may wonder what Brooks' best performing shoe was. Well, it was none other than the Ghost. How's this for a stat? In January this year, the Ghost was the 9th top selling shoe in the United States, behind a list of mostly limited edition lifestyle sneakers. Now, a good running shoe is never a popularity contest, but in the case of the Ghost, popularity does show credibility. Before we talk tech specs of the shoe, if you're new here, I've recently started this channel to talk about all things to do with running, from sports science to footwear. So if this sounds down your alley, consider subscribing. Thanks. Alright, so the Ghost is positioned as an everyday or daily training shoe. Within Brooks' range, it is sandwiched between your more cushioned shoes like your Glycerin and Aurora BL and your lighter, more speed-oriented shoes like your Launch and Hyperion Elite. Sitting in this daily trainer category does make the Ghost pretty versatile. It's ideal for easy and long runs, but won't get in most runners' way if they are looking to pick up the pace. Though if you are looking for a shoe that's a little bit more speed orientated, I would consider looking at the Launch. I think the Ghost has gained such a strong following because it's a simple and reliable shoe. Truth be told, it still feels kind of similar to the Ghost 11. Brooks don't reinvent the shoe every season, and this keeps runners regularly returning. Few shoes have better step-in comfort than the Ghost, and despite somewhat of a bulky traditional feel, the shoe seems to disappear under my foot when I run. It's also one of those traditional, comfortable running shoes which some of the older folk will wear to a barbecue, and rightfully so. So now let's look at the updates and what's new on the Ghost 14. In terms of specs, the Ghost has a 32mm heel and a 20mm forefoot. It's one of the few 12mm drop shoes on the market. On foot, it will weigh in at 281 grams in a men's US 9 and 255 grams in a women's US 7. It's a neutral shoe, so built with a standard arch. And in terms of fit, it's comparable to last season, being true to size. If you do have a wide foot, the shoe doesn't offer too much free real estate. Luckily, most countries offer the Ghost in a men's and women's wide fit option. Brooks haven't reinvented the wheel on the 14, but have made some minor tweaks that are worth considering. So if we flip over our shoes over here, we'll notice that the 14 sticks with a very similar full-length nice rubber outsole that we had on the 13. There is a particular emphasis on the rub on the heel to act as a crash pad for your heel strikers. Throughout the length of the rubber outsole, Brooks have chiseled off about 1mm on the new iteration. Generally, this would come at the cost of durability, but on the 14, there's still plenty of rubber to go around to make the shoe nice and tough. In fact, on the 12s, I had to retire my shoes because I had taken some life out of the midsole cushioning, but as you can see, the rubber outsole is still very much intact. Alright, moving to the midsole of the shoe, Brooks stick with their classic 12mm heel to toe drop on the Ghost. This is classified as a high drop and will be most favorable for runners who want to make a smooth heel contact with the ground. Forefoot runners may struggle in the shoe, midfoot and heel strikers may love the shoe, other runners won't even notice it. This season you'll notice that Brooks will be talking about a midsole foam of theirs called DNA Loft. Now DNA Loft is one of their softer cushioning varieties that has been used segmentally on both previous versions I have over here. On the 12 it was used just on the heel of the shoe, and on the 13 it was used on the heel and on the lateral side of the shoe. Now on the 14, they've extended DNA Loft throughout the duration of the shoe, so it's 100% DNA Loft midsole. Now this is going to give the shoe a tad softer underfoot feel, but still very much in line with both of the previous versions of the Ghost I have here. A lot of shoes are becoming unnecessarily squishy at the moment, as soft in the running world is a selling point. Soft does mean good step-in comfort when you initially try the shoe on, but it doesn't always mean that the shoe is going to be comfortable in the long run. So I was hesitant when I heard that the Ghost was becoming a softer shoe, but for me the Ghost still lies in that Goldilocks zone, not too soft, not too firm, but just right. And your Ghost loyalists are going to be happy with this. Moving to the upper of the shoe, a lot has stayed the same from the previous version. The tongue remains unchanged, still being nicely padded. It's stitched in and not gusseted or elasticated, so easy to get on and off. The Ghost has my favorite heel count out of any shoe I've ever worn. It's comfortable and I almost want to say luxurious. It has this internal heel counter which cradles the foot or the heel without being overly structured, and that's covered by a nice padding which ensures that there's no irritation at the Achilles insertion. Your heel actually sits quite deeply inside the shoe, which tends to ensure a nice locked-in feel. If you are an orthotic user, the insole is removable and can be replaced with most orthotics, which would sit in quite nicely. Alright, so the upper now uses a slightly lighter mesh. Now much of the same secure and lockdown fit, a bit more breathable than before though. In terms of laces, Brooks have opted for flat laces as opposed to oval laces. Now, I personally find flat laces to be a bit of a nuisance, but I can always swap them out for oval laces. So those are the updates, and like all of my shoe reviews, I end off with 3 pros and 3 cons of the new shoe. So let's start off with my 3 pros. Alright, so the Ghost remains your no-nonsense daily trainer that can handle just about anything you throw at them. In fact, on my 12s, I used them for quite a lot of trail running, as I preferred them over some of my trail running shoes, in fact. So again, it's a versatile shoe that can handle quite a bit. Particularly on your 14, it's a really nice, good-looking silhouette that a lot of your runners will maybe wear as a daily casual shoe without doing an injustice to the fact that it is a technical running shoe. So it is a shoe that you can rock with jeans, possibly to a barbecue. Alright, so now for my cons of the shoe. The first con is that the shoe does have a particularly high heel to toe drop or offset. At 12 millimeters, the shoe may push some runners onto the heel a little bit more than what they would find in another shoe. Next con is that some runners will find it to be slightly bulky underfoot. And for a lighter runner or a high school runner that's not looking to carry a lot of bulk underfoot, this could be a bit much. So that wraps up my review of the Brooks Ghost 14. I hope it was useful. I've got a few cool running tips and sports science videos on their way. If this sounds down your alley, subscribe to my channel, turn the notification bell on to be the first to watch, and until then, cheers!